Hello, hello, legacy builders, conscious leaders. Welcome back to another workshop. Day 4. Can't believe it that we're on day 4 already. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey to building a self led company that does more good in the world. And today I would love to connect the other pillar for you, which is a fundamental pillar or a timeless pillar in growing and scaling a self led company, which is your sales. When I think of sales, I've always thought of sales as service. And that's why I love the service industry because you are in service towards another human. So I love to look at sales like service. I've implemented the same type of mindset, shift set, value system, all of that within my company as well, because that's really what it is. We talked about branding on one of the days. Then we talked about marketing yesterday, and obviously the two working together will lead to sales, which means will lead to service. And unless the other two priorly lead to the third pillar, which is sales, that we can really create transformations. We can't create impact. We can't do more good in the world. We can't change the world in the way that we feel compelled to do so. We can live out our life's purpose and mission because then we are not really able to have that transformation or the catalyst for transformation start unless we understand how sales would be the next pillar in our journey as entrepreneurs and CEOs and the way that we are building our self led companies. So, going back to sales is service. To me, when you are moving along people in your journey of prospecting, don't love the world, but I do have to match the world back to what traditionally are known as business concepts. When it comes to prospecting and building a genuine relationship, we learn more about one another. We learn more regarding the people that we want to serve, and then we gain more insight around what is their main pain point and how is it that we can actually solve it with our service. Remember, yesterday I talked about matchmaking, and business is really the channel to matchmake a solution and a problem which a human has. That's kind of how I like to look at sales as well, matching what is it that someone is seeking help with and matching the support that you're able to provide through what is called the sales conversation, a conversation that's really supposed to be very open heart conversation, very intentionally led, a lot of listening, a lot of understanding the five senses of intuition that I talked about yesterday, and really tapping into the hearing one, which is a really powerful sense or intuitive sense for sales conversations and service conversations, because in order for us to really understand how is it that we can meet the people that we want to serve, we want to intentionally listen to the pain point and what is it that they're going through. So having that kind of space that you have curated in your business or within your systems and structures absolutely ensures that the people that you are most likely called to support, your timing matches, right? They're seeking for the solution to the problem, and you are the solution provider. So the timing matches. And I talked about timing matching yesterday a lot. I believe everything in life is matching of timing, right? Because we have our purposes, we have our goals. However, we don't always know when the timing aligns, which is why we're always in collaboration with the spirit, the universe, whatever else is it that you believe beyond yourself. So it's really important to understand that the more patient we grow, the more we tune into our listening sense of intuition, the more we get to hear, see, feel, touch, smell the right timing for these conversations to happen, or anything else in general anyway. Because a lot of the problems that I've seen when it comes to having sales conversations traditionally, the way that we kind of know sales conversations, people get frustrated with, needing to help people overcome their objections, needing to help people overcome the timing, needing to be pushy, needing to put pressure on people if they're not really feeling aligned with maybe even you as the person that they want to work with, not to mention your service, because I would say human first, then service. People will connect with you first, and then they'll connect with the service you're able to provide. So it's always that kind of timeline that is happening in the background. So I think it's really important to match the timing and just be patient with one another, and not to be needy, not to be anxious, not to be anxiously attached to the sale, not to be anxiously attached to the other person on the other end, to that conversation to go your way. Because the more you do that, the more you are blocking the sale, the more you are blocking the support that you can give to somebody else. And these are all things that happen in the background. However, a lot of us don't understand why we're having so many sales conversations. However, no one is actually turning into a client, and our closing rates are low. But again, that's how this, translates into the material world of business, meaning closure rates and sales. But there's deeper stuff happening. So I think it's really important to be patient, really important to be in service, and to honor people's timing. If it's not the right time for them to make a decision, even when you've done the qualifying process of your sales processes, and they're, there, and they have the urgency around the problem that you solve, and all the decision makers are there, and all the objections are handled, you've done all you can, right? So just be in peace with that conversation, and just be a good human, and just open up the convo as to when is it the next touch point with this person. When is it that we can continue to further this support and conversation? And it should always be led from the heart. If it's not led from the heart, it's led by ego. And when it's led by ego, that's kind of where we get in trouble. And this is where we see the toxicity around sales and business, as to, people feeling pressured, feeling sold to, feeling like they're just a number, they're just a lead, they're just a transaction. Nobody really cares to get to know them. There's no reciprocity. If there is no reciprocity, a human relationship just can't survive, right? It has to be a reciprocity phenomenon happening from both parties. Like the person in front of you has to feel like you care. And that's just not like they have to feel like you care because you're manipulating the process, but they should feel you. They should hear you. They should see you. All the five senses again. I always talk about the five senses of intuition. So they should see you. They should hear you. And they should feel you if they're, also developed in that sense as well. And if you are as well. So, and if none of this happens, then there's going to be a gap. And that's why the sale won't go through, or the deal won't go through. And this is very true for high level deals as well. Because what is a sales conversation? That's kind of what it is. Can we get into agreement with something? Is it a win-win on both parties? Is there reciprocity? Do we agree to the terms of the conversation? Do we agree to the exchange of services for money? Do we agree to what is it that we're both looking for in this conversation relationship? That's how, high level deals are made as well. There's no difference. So once the concept is learned, once the lesson is learned, and once the depth is there, then everything else is just a matter of like a byproduct that shows up. Whether again you're talking to a high level client, or you're talking to a client that's just looking for the quicker transformations that you're able to provide. Because again, that's another conversation around what aligns with your business model. Most people in business have really adapted other people's business models, unfortunately. I would say 80%, more than that, but I don't want to generalize the percentages. But I think 80% of humans have copied someone else's business model. It's not necessarily so organic, unique, and authentic to them. It's just easier to monkey see, monkey do, to kind of just rinse and repeat other people's business models. That's why I have such a deep conversation with my clients around what aligns with them, because the biggest innovators, the biggest conscious leaders, the biggest change makers, the biggest history catalyst changers, all these people have led from courage and heart and their own authentic insights. And why can't this be applied to business? I think it's really important to be applied to business, because business is that channel that can change the world, right? So I think those deep insights with your own business model and what resonates to you, with you, and how to structure all of that out in your company, I think is the key to innovation, is the key to um, being your own authentic path, being a disruptor, being a leader in your industry, bringing something new to the table, bringing new insight that is not there. Yes, does that feel scary? Sure, because it's new, right? It's unknown, it's uncertain, it's never been done before. But that's what I'm talking about. If your five senses are leading you there, and you have the insight and the intuitive insight to take the next inspired action to move something further along, which could be the way that you service others, you got to follow that. There's a reason why you feel that and other people don't, or you see it and other people don't. So I think it's really important to honor ourselves and trust in our intuitive insights as leaders and as business owners, founders, CEOs, so that we can really serve at the highest level and disrupt change for good, right? Let's use business as a force for good. Business is a human at the end of the day. I like to think that she is a woman. She's female energy, feminine energy. Um, so, yeah, let's honor her. Let's honor her, because we know I mean, maybe we don't know, but I've learned through my experience that being in a high divinity of feminine energy is where power lies, is where um, wildness lies, innovation, creativity. It's magical, right? It's almost like you align fire with water, right? It's the meeting point of power, fire, drive, ambition, all those things that some of us are pulled towards, a lot of times for the wrong reason. But also spirituality, femininity, flow, innovation, creativity. So when the two marry, it's kind of the new world. It's kind of where we're heading into, as the new world is being destroyed so that it can be rebuilt. I really believe that. So those were kind of all that I feel like sharing for sales in the traditional sense, but also in the spiritual sense. So again, let's do a next step today, just like all the rest of the days. What are three inspired dots that you connected? Is there any dots that you connected from this conversation? What are the three dots that you have connected? And what is the three inspired actions that kind of come about out of those dots that were connected? And that could probably be your implementation homework. I don't like the word homework, but next steps. I love next steps because we always have next steps in our lives to improve things. And that's how it should happen, because that's where evolution happens. So maybe those three intuitive insights and inspired action that you're feeling from today's conversation. And I would love to invite you back tomorrow for the last day. Can't believe it's the last day. Tomorrow I'm going to wrap it up and talk about high level leadership, because that's kind of the next level of business scale anyway. It's going to be a beautiful finalization to this conversation series that we've been on together. Again, grateful, thankful that you are showing up every day. Grateful for the comments, the questions, the insights, the messages. And I'm just glad to be of service. This is where I kind of sit at my highest level of intuition and fulfillment. Thank you so much for creating that space and just being here so that we could feed each other with good energy and good insights so that we can do more good in the world. I think that is one mission that unites all of us that are listening to this. So thanks for showing up. and I'll see